Good morning, Andy. It's me again, a month later.
Hi, Jeanette. How you doing? Hello, everybody
Very
out
well.
there.
Thank you for joining us on Andy
Yeah.
Talks Real Estate, where Jeanette Martin of MYBC Consulting hijacks Andy's page, and we talk all things real estate and more.
You bet. You bet.
So how's it going out there, Andy, in the land of buying and selling homes?
Well, I mean, we'll look at the numbers in a few seconds here, but it's definitely quieting down. We did have a bit of a surge in October in terms of sellers wanting to get into their homes before Christmas, and some of those sales had very short closings. So right now I am preparing my clients for those closings and the follow-up that happens after you have the accepted offer.
So before we came on, we were kind of batting around what we were going to talk about, and I brought up the fact that I really feel when you have these numbers and stats and facts and figures and such a big decision, you got to do that planning ahead of time. And what do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Is this a good time to start planning? And what does that look like for you in your world?
Yes, yeah. It's really extremely important to have that plan in place and to have that very frank discussion of where my clients want to end up. And usually those conversations are on the kitchen table, and you can have the ideas of where you want to be and what the time frame is. And for a lot of people that are thinking about selling or buying in the spring, when we'll see a little bit more inventory and the sales volume increases, you need to sit down now and to start putting together that plan and looking at the numbers and being ready to spring into action in the spring. Bad pun.
Very good pun. So how would one people are going to watch this on your YouTube channel and on Facebook and where this goes out to. How does someone get in touch with you in order to book a time for you to come into their kitchen table?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, my phone number is out there, but I also use Calendly, and I always stumble over that one. But with that, you can log on to Calendly. There's a link on my Facebook page, on my website, on my emails, and you can book the time that's most convenient for you. And we can then I'll follow up and find out what more you're looking for, and we can do either a in-person meeting, we can do a Zoom meeting, or maybe it's just a phone call to sort of get an idea of where the market is.
Okay, perfect. You're very approachable,
Yes.
which is
Oh, yeah.
awesome. So let's get into some of the facts and figures.
Sure. Are you going to share screen or?
I absolutely have.
Oh, you have.
A good hijacker lets you negotiate your own release.
Wow. Okay. So here we are.
Oh, that's us last month. Look at how my
Yeah.
hair has changed in a month.
Yes. Yes. All that excitement. So here's our market statistics for the numbers coming out from October, and the on our sales half, the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board processed 901 sales during the month of October, and that was a very slight increase of 0.4% from September of last month. But this is the bigger number. This is a 53.5% decrease from October of last year. So the volume of sales from last year to this year in October is down by about 54%. The supply of new inventory, this is our new listings that are coming on the market, decreased 3.8% from September of last month, and that there was 2186 new listings done. Also, too, this is about the same amount as in previous years of October. So to look at it in a graph, here we can see that our listing volume is about the same and is being consistent, but our sales volume, and you have to think that October of last year was the beginning of the really big surge, and so there was a lot of sales going on. And then in March we hit the high, and from September, October, it has declined considerably. And you can see 886 and 897 for sales for the past 2 months. So a slight increase, but I would say bouncing along the bottom. And here you can see our months of inventory for the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. And this is what's considered a balanced market, but in some specific areas, it is still a seller's market. In other areas, it is definitely a buyer's market. And then, of course, you can see the interest rate change and how that has increased our inventory. But now we're kind of bouncing along at this range of around 6 months of inventory.
So where would you say it's not a balanced market?
Not a balanced market. Well, you know, it probably a little bit more in Langley and in parts of Cloverdale. Cloverdale
Okay.
has always been a very, very tight market. And here, so with our Fraser Valley MLS statistics, we can still, you know, we can see that detached homes are in that balanced market, but it's just touching, and it's, you know, getting into that buyers. And then apartments and townhouses are still considered sellers in the seller's territory. And this is an interesting thing, is that the condo market and the townhouse products, they did not see a decline nearly as drastic as detached homes. And we'll get into that with our Langley market. And then here you can see this is the Fraser Valley Housing Price Index. That's the HPI. And from the high, I think, of March of this year, you know, we have declined. And but you can see a little slight tip here changing, and we might be seeing this leveling off. Townhomes, not nearly as drastic, and condominiums, you know, like the last month in terms of the home price index, is about the same. So we're seeing that the condo market is holding its own. Townhomes are doing slightly better, and of course the detached market has significantly dropped. So for Langley, here we are. We're still showing very much a seller's market. However, you need to be priced appropriately. So if you're looking at where the market was 3 or 4 months ago and pricing it to that level, it's not going to sell. So it shows that it's still in seller's territory. However, buyers are very, very hesitant, this needs to be looked at in a very, very tight manner.
So just to kind of pause you there, to figure that out, how do you go about kind of sitting with somebody and having that, what they say, that fair market value, to get it out there to make your property noticeable? So what methodology do you use? So I'm going to sell my house, to figure out how to price it.
How to price it? Well, you have to look at, and I'll just shoot over to this next graph here. You have to look at which way the market's going. So, you know, all these are on a downward trend. So, your pricing has to be a little bit below the last sale. And you cannot look over here, say, well, at this, 3 or 4 months ago, because it is significantly higher. And if you price your home at this range and the market has gone down, you're going to be just sitting there, and buyers are, their offers are always coming in lower, and you think, well, if I list higher, then the buyer will make a higher offer, and that's not a case. They're worried, and they're concerned that in 6 months, or 3 to 6 months, that they'll see a lower market. I think the market's turning, and I think that we're starting to see a leveling off. But the buyers out there, they have that fear, and so they're going to be pricing their bids accordingly. So you need to be slightly below the market, and you need to plan for that too, because it does, from the time that you sit down with your realtor and figure out when you're going to list, and from that initial meeting, it does take 2 weeks before your house is on the market. You need to have the staging done. You need to have the interior pictures, the exterior pictures, the video, the aerial droning, the floor plan, the staging, which is done all beforehand. That needs that is, all those things that you want to make sure that your home is presented in a manner that is very, very attractive to buyers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So our Langley statistics, this is, I look at these numbers quite in depth here, and that, you know, for our detached homes, in March, we had a high of 1,884,500, and right now we're at 1,528,100, and that's a drop of 19% in terms of dollar value. So even though they're showed in a buyer or in a balanced market, the pricing is still come down considerably, and but you can see the graph is kind of leveling off. And the other thing I want to point out with detached homes is that, you know, the HPI is at 1,528,100, and a year ago it was 1,565,800. So we're now below last year's price, whereas last month we were just slightly below that, and the previous month it was about the same. So the pricing now, all the gains in the past year have been wiped out. The townhome market is at 852,600 with the high of 946,500, and that's a 9% drop, and from May of the high. And the pricing, though, if you look at it, we're at 852,600, but a year ago we were at 752,300. So there still is almost $100,000 of increased value year over year, and the same is also too with the condominium market. And we hit a high in April of 645,900, and right now we're at 588,900. That is also a 9% drop, but the difference is a year ago was at 525,100. So it has come down a bit more than the townhouse market, but it's still above a year over year. And I think that what's really pushing the condo and the townhouse market, especially the condo market, is that there's a real lack of rental inventory. And there are people out there that are starting to think that they need to, the pricing is good, the rents that can be acquired are higher, and so perhaps this is a good time to buy a rental property and carry it for, you know, a couple of years, and then you'll have a good capital gain because the prices are lower, and you have a good renter that is paying a premium rent. And so that's what I think is pushing the condo market right now.
And I'll come from my friend's point of view on this, because, you know, I'm hedging towards the big 6-0 in a year and a bit, is that a lot of my friends are recognizing that moving into a townhouse or a condominium is meeting their lifestyle. And so many of the condominiums that are being built in the Langley area are being built in such a beautiful walkable. It's like, you know what, I can go downstairs and get my groceries or go to the hairdresser, and it's such, my lifestyle now can be so much closer to me, you know, like in the Willoughby area. I love the Willoughby area. I think it's brilliant the way it was designed. I maybe don't have to have a car for a while. I can get my groceries, I can go to a restaurant, I can go to the park, I can have everything that's kind of really quite close. That meets my lifestyle now as I'm aging. I don't want a big, huge house, but I'd rather have a livable, walkable, you know, tighter sense of community.
Yes, yeah. Now that they have a town center in Willoughby, and stores and restaurants coming in, that the walkability of it has increased dramatically in the last 6 months to a year. So that, and there is a strategy that home sellers are doing too, is that they will sell their home, they'll buy 2 condos. And they'll move into one, and they'll have another one in the building which they'll rent out, so they can keep a close eye on it, and use that one as income to support their lifestyle on the rents, and then that's part of their retirement package.
It's much like what happens when you work with people in Fort Langley. Yes, I'll invest in that bigger, larger house that's in Fort Langley, because I know I can walk down the street and I have a restaurant, go to this, go to that, go to this, go to that. So it's like, okay, I still don't need, I'll have something a little bigger, a little grander, but I don't have to go as far. So therefore I'm saving money in a weird and wonderful way. So it works both ways.
Yeah, well, Fort Langley definitely has its advantages for that, and Bedford
Mhm.
Landing, you can have, if you don't want a large home with a large lot and a lot of yard maintenance, if that's not for you, then Bedford Landing, they're 25 to 3,200 square feet, and you can get there's also bigger homes there that are sitting on a 3,000, 3,500 square foot lot. And they're park lane homes, they're well built, and you can still be walkable to the downtown
Mhm.
core. And even then, there's 3 apartment buildings that are also too on the riverfront in Bedford Landing, and they're even more so a walkability.
Yeah. So
Yes,
I
yeah,
think lifestyle, I think we're getting back to, hey, what's my lifestyle versus having this big, huge investment. It's like really caring about how we're going to spend our time on this
yes, yeah,
planet.
yeah. Time becomes much more valuable
Hmm.
than money at some point in your life.
Absolutely.
And I didn't believe that until I turned 60.
Oh, so do I have that to look forward to in a year and 2 months?
Yeah. So that's the statistics yeah, for that I've got for you today.
Mhm.
Tomorrow's Remembrance Day, and I'm going to be at the Cenotaph in Fort Langley. We're inviting the public out to come to the Cenotaph to be part of the service that we do, and it will also be live streamed if you are in a position where you can't make it. And it's something that I've been part of for about over 20 years now, and it's a special committee I work with, and it's a special day for me.
And I'll let people know because I live in Aldergrove. There is a celebration that goes on in Aldergrove as well. There is one, or in Murrayville, and
Yes,
also in downtown Langley City at Douglas Park. So there is a place for you to go and celebrate Remembrance Day ceremonies tomorrow.
yes,
You
yes.
you can go onto the TOL Township of Langley website, and they've got listed there as well as the City of Langley to find out the closest one to you.
Jeanette, when I think of all the years that I've been to the Fort Langley one, and we've had rain, we've had snow. Well, tomorrow will be a fairly sunny day, but it's going to be cold. And I always think of in the First World War in early November, millions, and I say millions of soldiers were in the trenches, and they were looking at another winter, another winter of war, another winter of death, of a lot, of being in frozen wastelands. And can you imagine the joy that they had when the armistice was announced, and that the war was over and that they were going home? It always strikes me that November 11th must have been a very joyous day for those
Mhm.
that made it, because they knew that it was over.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll get you to stop sharing your screen.
Sure. Yes. There you go.
Yeah, Remembrance Day is very special to my family. I grew up in the Royal Canadian Legion back in London, Ontario. My parents were there, members, longstanding members, my grandparents, and Remembrance Day in our family was, I would say, more important than Christmas Day because we had grandpa and we had our grandparents still there. So get out, get your poppy. And there's something that's new that I posted over on the Fort Langley Remembers is there's mypoppy.ca now. And that's where, wherever you are in the world, you can go onto My Poppy and create a digital poppy and post it out to the world. And so if you can't get to a box somewhere in a store, you can go and do that. And that's the first that I've heard of it this year. And I think that's fantastic. And you can create a little in remembrance of, so your donation is still needed. The Royal Legion, the Royal Canadian Legion helps our veterans both past to honor as well as our veterans today. So they need our help.
Yes. Yeah. Of course.
Okay,
Okay.
Andy, I'm going to hijack you again next month, just to
Yeah.
let you know.
December 16th.
Got it.
Okay.
We'll be
Okay.
celebrating Christmas. Maybe we'll
Yes.
wear Santa hats next month. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.
1 second. Technical difficulties here.